Um, where do I start?
This is where we start. It's the interrogation.
Yeah. How are you with conversations like these? Are you good?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No?
No. So it's up to you to make it good.
It's all the pressure on me, right?
Yeah.
But
I'm good at talking some things that I'm passionate about, but I'm not that good at talking about specifically my art.
yeah.
So if you go around, that topic, that's good.
But what are you passionate about?
I mean, I'm good to talk about art and everything. If you ask specifically about my work,
You can
if
pull
you
that
ask
close.
specifically about my work,
Mhm.
then it's harder for me to talk, I think. But I mean, it depends on the question, I guess.
Yeah. I've noticed that I have grown so much, and I have seen the same thing in you as well. And one of the things that I've noticed in myself is that probably I'm comparing to the time that we first met, probably 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've really learned is that seeing through stuff, finishing stuff. And I have seen that in you too. You now finish stuff. You start projects and you finish them.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Well, it's a journey,
Yeah.
For a while that was a difficult thing for me to stick to something.
Yeah.
I have so many interests. And but I think when I found printmaking, that's when I was like, okay, this is something that I can stick to for a while. I mean, I had so many other things, but printmaking was something that was like, I could do this and produce like real things, because I was practicing drawing a lot before, and I didn't feel like a finished product. I was practicing a lot of music, writing some things, but it still didn't feel like, it's recorded and done and it's a product now,
But why printmaking? Why did that click?
I have no idea. I mean, I did so many things, but this is the thing that I was like, okay, I can do something with it. It's a finished product.
I have a theory about it. What do you think?
Yeah.
My theory is that with printmaking, you make a print. You make pretty much the master. What do you call the template? The master?
Plate.
The plate.
Yeah.
You make the plate and it's still pretty fresh for like 10, 20 prints.
Yeah.
Like the amount of satisfaction that you get is pretty fresh for probably a lot of prints. And then you're ready to move on to something else. With painting, it's a lot of work that you put in.
Yeah.
It is fresh, but you don't feel like going through the entire thing again.
Yeah, I think, I said finishing things, but the thing about printmaking is what's satisfying is that you put in a lot of work and then you have a lot of them. For a painting, it's like, someone wants to buy the painting for like some amount, and it still feels wrong because once you give it to it, it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's harder to say, okay, that's worth it or something.
Yeah.
But with print, no matter how many I sell, I still have the main thing. So it's not going away from it. It's like a kind of a attachment thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You think that attachment part is difficult to let it go for paintings?
That has a lot to do with it. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You get attached with your paintings. I thought you were the guy. You always told me to to draw.
No,
that
it's different.
That
It's
Buddha
different.
things. Those little whiteboards that you draw and then it disappears.
Oh yeah.
What is that called?
Buddha board. Yeah.
Buddha board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were encouraging me to do that.
No, it's I don't know, this dissonance, cognitive dissonance, I guess. There are some things that I'm really, I want to confront it. But it's just the fact of life, I guess. It's like It's just always there. But I mean, for normal people, they don't even think about these things, right? They're just like, okay, whatever. Like, things happen, and you make something, it's gone, whatever. But for me, I'm trying to confront the thing too. And when you're thinking about it a lot, then it's always there. You know, so when I make a painting and I really like it, I want to keep it too, you know. But a lot of times I don't like it as much, and it's easier for me.
But you know, one of the things that I've always thought about you, and that has always inspired me too, is that you are genuinely an artist. You live like an artist. You think like an artist. That's one of the things that I've always thought about you. You know, I still find you sometimes like thinking and exploring or being curious about some of the really mundane things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's my thing, man. That's my thing. Like, people, we just live in this same state of mind.
Yeah.
Like, all the time.
Yeah.
You see the sunrise, like shadows of things, and it just goes without notice, like all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about how a book is made, you know, a book is made, and you think about how the page number works, and the first lines up with the last two. So those were attached first. I mean, they were always attached, the first and the last page, right?
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
If the page number went until 100, then the 1, 2, and the 99 and 100 are attached.
Yeah.
Right? And that way, it's like a completely different series of things. You have to think in forwards. Like, you know, people never think about that. And I'm like, that's something interesting there, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not useful.
I think it is. I mean, really think
it's useful for some people and people who work with it. Well, I guess I also thought of it because I worked in a printing company.
But I really think curiosity is very useful.
Yeah.
It's really, really useful.
Yeah.
Like maybe 99% of the time you're not going to find something useful.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. You're not going to find something useful 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But only curiosity takes you there so that you try it 100% of the time and eventually you may find something.
Definitely. Okay, here's another thing that I always try to tell people, and it looks like I'm being lazy all the time. Okay? Because I'm, like, last 3 weeks, I was working very little in the restaurant. I work in the restaurant, you know. I was working like 2 or 3 days, and I was off 4 days. And then looks like I didn't do anything. I just sit there like all day.
Yeah.
YouTube, we do this. But it's just the background. That's my background. And I'm just in this state of like just like being curious about like many different things at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
And it looks like I'm being lazy, but then over time, if I keep that, something's going to come up that's useful.
Yeah.
You know? And most of the time I'm drawing like crazy and nothing comes out. And it's like I'm doing nothing. Like when someone calls me like, what are you doing? Like I'm not doing anything, but I'm drawing. But that's my nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And most of the time nothing comes out. But all of a sudden I stumble on something and it's like, okay, there's something there. You know?
But that's the thing. I never thought that you, like, I always, as I said, I'm always inspired by that kind of thinking. I never thought that you were lazy. And that never struck me as that. But I always knew that you're super curious with that stuff. And that rubs off. So one of the things that I remember, you know, the solar eclipse, the day that we went upstate?
Yeah.
It was you and I in Brooklyn. And like I would have never stopped and taken the time to explore or pay attention to the things that you paid attention to. Like the shadows, like the way they tilted and all. Like that's probably the best solar eclipse of my entire life. It's just because I paid attention to the things that you were paying attention to.
Yeah.
And that I do want to do that. I do want to take the time and slow down, and but that's the thing. The words that we use with this, the descriptions that we use to explain what this is all kind of they have negative connotations. Like, for example, I say slow down, right?
Yeah.
Now, if a person doesn't know you well enough, that slowing down may mean a certain thing. But if a person knows you well enough, that slow down is probably something that they need in their life as well. Because I need that in my life. And one of the things that Wasma always tells me is that sometimes you need to slow down. For me, my brain is always racing. All the time. It's racing. And sometimes I don't get to stand still and pay attention to something that's really, really important. Like, even if for example, if I'm drawing, if I'm making something, I might be going past through something super exciting, and without even realizing, like, what a fucking waste of life is that? Going past through something super exciting and then not noticing it.
Yeah.
Right?
It is part of learning to notice things. Like a lot of, like I was saying about shadows and stuff, it's like you don't notice these things until you sit there for an hour just looking at the shadows. And that's what you do when you're painting.
Yes.
Like you're just sitting there and like you're looking at the building's shadow on the wall and the tree's shadow on the buildings and stuff like that. And once you do that for like a few weeks straight, then you can't see anything but in that way.
Oh, that's I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, I started watching TV and like, thumbnails in the YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's a nice painting. And I'm look closely, I was like, oh, that's just the picture. I just looked at it as a painting because I'm looking at highlights. I simplify things like right away.
Oh, okay.
Without even thinking. And that's what it is. Like you're looking at something, noticing, but then simplifying so your brain can like process what's there or something. Like what's dark here, what's light, and where the light is, like what's the light doing? Like reflecting and stuff like that.
Here's an interesting thing. The profile part of these that I make, like the documentary is the second part. The profile part of it, I'm not like nearly technical to. I talk to one of my friends all the time, and he's pretty technical with this stuff, like with the cameras, with ISOs, with aperture, and all that stuff, with all these numbers. He's pretty technical, and I'm nowhere close to that guy. But at the end of the day, when I put these videos together for the profile part, they always look super good. And I think I look at that as composition.
Yeah.
Every single frame, I look at it as a composition.
Yeah.
So, again, that part did come from
art.
Yes.
From drawing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That part did come from that, and that part did come from observation.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't done that, I don't think I would have paid attention to that part.
That's why great movies are only made by great artists.
Yes.
Like a writer just by himself, he can write like amazing stories, but to put it on the screen, you need composition. You need to know like what works, basically. You know, because most of the things don't work. You have to be like pretty. You have to be pretty. There's like very little thing that work, and then you have to find that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen just by randomly. I'm going to put a camera here and it's going to work. It's
Here is probably an unpopular opinion. So with all the innovators, for example, with Steve Jobs, I really think he had a very artistic eye.
Yeah.
He had that.
Yeah.
With everyone else, who I really appreciate and whose products I really like, they were pretty much a very well-rounded person, both technical and very artistic eye.
Yeah.
Now, I do feel that Elon Musk is probably way more smarter than Steve Jobs, but he doesn't have that artistic eye.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Like
Yeah.
if Elon Musk had that artistic eye, imagine what Tesla would be today.
Yeah,
I don't like Teslas.
I don't know how I see. I mean, it's a lot of this figure. I mean, if you start in that way, it's a completely different topic. But for the artistic eye, yeah, I really do think that that's one of the things where you have to be wider, like not just one topic that you're good at.
Yeah.
You know that what's like good, like in a design way, not just in a like electronics way. Like it can be really nerdy about it, and which is really good. But there is a lot of things that go into like making a computer or whatever. There's a lot of design.
Yeah.
And that's there's a lot of mix of different things, and you need all of it. You can't just be like an amazing coder and you're gonna come up with the amazing product.
You have to have a little bit of all of those, and I think those people who have the edge is because they're pretty good at a lot of things.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be like, okay, I'm good at math, I'm good at designing. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like the thing that we're talking about. It's more like a curiosity.
Yeah.
It's like once you're curious, you have to know it.
Yes.
Like you just gotta find a way to like, why is it happening? It's the same with music.
Yeah.
Like it's still a mystery, but you still have to know like exactly what they did in that moment to sound like that. That's like a crazy thing, because it's just the ether, like it's in the air.
One of the pointers for me to know if a person is really curious or if they're up to something good is that if they fall into rabbit holes.
Yeah, I do a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just because I brought this up was because I know that you fall into these rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from a very you have to be a curious person to fall into rabbit holes. Yeah. And rabbit holes is nothing but you're just chasing something that you don't know. Like you're really trying really hard to find out what's behind this thing. Why is this thing happening the way it is happening? I remember something, my brother was visiting. There was something that I fall into that, and I literally couldn't sleep, and I couldn't pay attention to anything else until I got the answer to that, because that was in my mind all the time. I was walking, I was thinking about that thing.
Do you know exactly what question it was? What kind of question?
That's what I'm trying to remember. There was something and it was something very simple, because it took me like 2 days probably to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I couldn't think about anything else.
But a lot of times when it's really a mystery, you just have to kind of accept it too. I always go back to, because it's easier to talk about music than to talk about like composition in art. Like, what do you talk about in composition? But in music, okay, if there's a beat and it's like funky or it's groovy, everyone knows it. Like, okay, this beat is like, I want to dance to this beat,
Yeah.
But nobody knows why. Why do I feel like, why does my body move? Like, why does certain chords feel this way? And you can go really, really deep in it and be like theory, like, like study like deep theory.
Yeah.
And still they're just going to say this frequency and this frequency sound this way. And it's like, why? Still, it's like...
Here's an example of a rabbit hole that I fall into. The other day I was looking at all these dances from different countries, and all of them kind of, in a certain way, mimic animals. So for example, I was watching this dance from Sudan. Like they make all these movements with their neck, and it's kind of like the things that pigeons do.
Yeah.
And then I was looking these Kurdish dances. They were like mimicking horses.
There's a theory that dance came about, music and dance came about because you have to sync a lot of people at the same time, and for like an animal, that never happens. Like it looks like a big organism to them. Like if a big group of people are
Yeah.
dancing at the same rhythm, moving similarly, and they think that it's a huge thing there.
But
You know?
the thing that I came up with when I was looking for this, I
Yeah.
was like, maybe that's something very innate, like very genetically to animals. That it's not probably
But
human
we
beings.
are animals.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not probably that we are mimicking animals. It's not that animals are doing something that they have learned from someone else, but from some other animal. But it's just pretty much like innately
It's
something
nature.
animal
Yeah.
to dance.
Yeah.
So if we dance, we are animals, and we kind of look like probably like some other animal.
Yeah.
That's probably why I thought I made that association.
Yeah, also because we are animals, and most of animals have 4 limbs, you know. And if you start moving the 4 limbs, it's gonna start
look
looking
like some
them.
other
Yeah.
animal. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That could probably be it. But that's one of the examples that I
But
fall
we
into
do
that.
mimic animals in many ways, like
Yeah.
you know, like a kung fu with the grasshopper style
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You know.
Those are kind of more like intentional ones.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that there are there are cultures that. So, for example, in Farsi, there's an adjective for somebody who walks like the cat walking. You know,
Yeah.
see, as I'm saying,
Yeah,
cat
cat,
walking,
yeah.
you are saying that this person is walking like a cat.
yeah.
You're you kind of look at that walk as something good. So in Farsi, there is something that they say. There's a bird. I don't know what the word for that bird is. But whenever somebody walks really well, they say this person walks like that bird.
Yeah.
That bird's name. So again, I don't know why I brought this up, but yeah. So I do think that there's probably like dances that are just trying to mimic some animal because they're so enamored by the way that animal carries itself.
Yeah, and you know, people say that music is human. Just like that. That's what makes human unique and stuff. There's birds that do music.
Yeah.
Birds that do dance too.
Yeah.
You know, so
What about painting? I was talking about this with Clayton. Do you think there are other animals that do paintings as well, like drawing?
there are birds that collect certain colored things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they collect. It's called some. I don't remember what a bower bird or something like that. It's in one of the David Attenborough
Oh, okay.
documentaries too. There are birds that collect like plastic pieces that are certain color, like blue. They collect all the blue things and put it in one place. Reds and like
Oh, really?
yeah, and there's also birds that like clear off like a little section of the forest because there's a lot of debris and like leaves. They clear everything and they make a dance stage, which is also like a composition. There,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like they're like producing something. And another thing that really fascinates me, completely off, it's the beavers.
Yeah. What about them?
Beavers make dams.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's art for me. That's architecture.
I agree.
Architecture is art. And the beaver are making art. Their house. I mean, when I was going to college in Maryland, I spent a lot of time with beavers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't have a car, and I used to bike like an hour to where I used to work. And on the way, there is this beaver pond. And then I talked to a lot of locals there. I did a little research on my own just out of my curiosity. See, another curiosity thing is I talked to the cab drivers when I passed by. It's like, you know these beavers? And they're like, yeah, it used to be a golf course here in the 70s. And then the beaver put a dam there and the whole thing is now a pond.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like that big of a place was.
Yeah, and the whole, now it's all flooded. It's all like a, you know, like a pond. But
That's crazy.
it wasn't like that. And they like completely modified the landscape, the beavers. And well, but
that's see again.
that's another animal doing like you know, making art. And their nest You won't believe it. I saw their nest too, and I did some research, watched David Attenborough on beavers too, and I saw their nest too. So their nest is like in the middle of the pond. It looks like a little mound of sticks, but it's like really sturdy. And there's like a little hole where their heat comes off, and the entrance is under the water. Okay, so
For beaver dams.
they're beaver nests.
Oh,
So
okay.
they make a beaver dam, flood it, and make a pond, right?
Yeah.
And in the pond, in the middle of the pond,
They make the nest.
they make the nest, and the entrance is inside. But the inside, once you go inside, you come up, and there's the open space inside. Okay, so
That's crazy.
So that's their defense mechanism. So, unless you're a crocodile or there's a crocodile, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
But, oh, sorry, can you say that?
Of course you can.
But, they're protected from all the animals because the only entrance is underwater. So that's like, animals doing crazy architecture, crazy, that's art to me.
Yeah. And this brings me back to that part of like you being curious about this.
Yeah.
I have a brother, he's in Afghanistan right now. He was curious like this about ants.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if he had access to like a good school, he would have probably studied ants.
Yeah, I love ants and termites and all that stuff. It's like very fun. In fact, I look at the city,
Yeah.
and I think this is nature. That's my view. Like that's how far I go because I look at us and I'm like, we're just like termites making that mound.
Yeah.
That's our mound.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's nature to me.
I get that. I absolutely get that.
Yeah.
And he would always I'm pretty sure he spent years. He was a very young kid. And he was probably around like he started that when he was like 5 and then he continued that
Is this
habit.
the brother I met?
No.
No,
This is
okay.
another. You haven't met
Okay.
this one. He's a bit autistic too.
Oh yeah, you talked to
Yeah.
me about this.
So he was probably like around 5. He got this obsession with ants, and then he would anything about ants. He was so deep into it. He went all the way to till he was probably like 14, 15. He would study them all the time, and any question you had about ants, he knew about them. But see, that's the kind of personalities like people like and I'm glad that personalities like these exist
Yeah.
because discoveries and most of the interesting stuff comes from deep obsession with stuff
Understanding,
like this.
Yeah.
Really deep obsession with stuff like this brings in good results.
Yeah.
And that's why I said like I've seen you've grown.
Yeah.
You're now seeing through stuff. Seeing through stuff is nothing. It's just being consistent.
Yeah.
One of the things that I believe is that we don't have finishing problem. We have starting problem. We just start too many stuff.
Like general people or you and me?
General people.
General people, yeah.
We all have starting problem. We start and we don't have
Ending
a
problem.
starting problem. We have finishing problem. Because everyone likes to start stuff.
Yeah.
We don't finish them. Once we start doing that, like when you finish one thing, you kind of understand is that you should stop starting stuff.
No, but I don't agree with that much.
No?
No, I think it's good to keep starting things.
And not finish?
No, finishing, not finishing, it's its own thing, whatever. It doesn't have to be like, oh, this is my thing or something. Like it doesn't have to be something big. I mean, I think that's what I tell people, my students. Like I teach the printmaking. I tell students to like, don't be afraid. Like, it's not like if you start, okay, you're really into oil painting. Okay, it's like that's your thing, and you've been doing it. And you start printmaking, it doesn't mean that you're changing your identity or whatever. You're just trying it out, you know. Like keep trying things out. Like as long as it's not like taking over. I mean, if it's taking over, it's probably good too. You know, if it's taking over all your time, then you're really into it and it's good for you.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to keep exploring. I don't think that's...
Yeah, I get that point too. Yeah. So what you're saying is that starting is pretty much exploring.
Yeah.
Till you find something interesting to finish.
Yeah. I mean, I said finishing is as in like, oh, I had a product, as in like when I did printmaking, I felt that. But then I still don't think of it like, okay, this is my thing and that's the end or whatever. I'll still be doing new things all the time. And you know.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I do agree with that. If you think of it as,
but I think what you're getting at is that thing where people start something, and then once they realize that, oh, this is not as easy as I thought, then they stop.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think that's what you're getting at, and that's most of the people.
Yeah,
and I do that to a lot of things too. You know?
Because I think the satisfaction comes once you finish one thing, and then that kind of builds a certain discipline or a personality trait that you know that, okay, if I start something, I better have the, I don't know what to call it, the courage or the discipline to finish it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think the entire life is spent exploring, never finishing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say.
I think I do agree with what you say. It's very hard to put concrete statements on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you want people to explore. You want to always be in that state where you feel like there's something more. You know? Like you don't want to be like, okay, this is my thing, and a lot of people do that. And I guess it's okay too. But,
I absolutely agree that you cannot put concrete statement on stuff like this.
Yeah,
because it may work a certain percentage of the time, but another certain.
Yeah, and also it doesn't matter. You're just doing what you're just exploring. You know, it doesn't have to be like a money making. Okay, now you are in this level where you're a professional artist.
See, that's why I'm saying, like, you think like an artist. Your thought process is totally different. That's why I think it's pretty inspiring, because I do fall in that rat race of chasing money. I do fall into that.
Yeah.
Almost always, like 99% of the time. And when I'm inside that race, certain times I do think, oh, I should go visit you. Because a couple of hours with you kind of gives me a little perspective that it's not always about the rat race too.
It's never about the money, really.
Probably.
It's really never about, but I am understanding that money is necessary, and okay, if I make some money on, like, for me, it used to be that if I make money, it's not good.
Oh, really?
That's how opposite I was. Like, if I start doing this for money, like, I could be like in a cover band and I could make money. Like, I used to play a lot of music, and that's my thought. I could be in a cover band, and that's my thing. I can make money like that. But then it would be deeply dissatisfying if I did that, you know.
But see, that's where the biggest difference comes in my personality and yours, because I worship money.
Yeah, no, I worship something else.
What do you worship?
It's I don't know what I worship actually. It's not money though.
Because I do see. Here's the thing: there's so many things about your life that inspires me. This seriously, this might come to you as something like probably unbelievable. Or maybe weird.
You inspire me. You know, it's like, man.
Okay, good. Let's compliment each other.
No, but you do. Like, you know, in a short amount of time, you were like grinding, and now you're there and you're good. Like, you know. But again, I think if you want to be an artist, you better live a lifestyle like you. It's very genuine.
it's a very genuine way of living, and also at the same time, I wish, and I do kind of believe too, like you'll get there, because you have started finishing stuff. I do, yeah. Once they discover you,
Yeah.
like how, because for me, I cannot separate the art from the artist. I
Yeah.
cannot do that, and
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people that's the case.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that's the case. Like people enjoyed what's that guy? The grandfather figure who was caught drugging women and raping them.
Oh yeah, I know.
What's his name?
I know.
I'm like
Cosby.
Cosby.
Bill Cosby. Yeah.
People enjoyed that guy. They grew up with him,
Yeah.
right? The moment they realized this is what Cosby was, it's as if that history is being omitted from people's childhoods.
Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't part of my childhood. You know, I was like, I just heard about Cosby because of that thing. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
So that's how it got like omitted from people's minds.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this?
Separating art from the artist.
Exactly. So whether you believe it or not, but that's
I
also
can.
Yeah, that's also an art.
No,
right?
I can separate art from the
You
artist.
can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how misogynist Jackson Pollock, Picasso, all those people were, they're assholes.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, a lot of people have problem with. I don't. I was like,
With them,
it's amazing.
with them, I have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Like same thing goes with Hemingway.
Yeah.
He was pretty misogynistic too.
Yeah.
But I think that was the trend. Maybe not the trend, but that was the. I do believe that societies have a knowledge level at certain times during history. That was kind of the
I
knowledge
used to
level
think
during
that.
that.
I used to, you know, we're gonna go into a completely different tangent.
Hey, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
No, but I used to think that okay, people used to be not as smart, I guess, you know. But now I don't think that way anymore. I think
No,
it's
I'm not
just the
saying not-
extra things. There's technology. There's these things that's new, but
It-
like
it's
in
not
the essence,
necessarily. I don't necessarily mean not as smart. I don't necessarily mean that.
no,
I
not as
absolutely
smart as also like there were
So let me-
people
let me-
who
let me-
were like not misogynistic at that point.
Probably,
okay,
yeah.
there were a lot of them.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Let me give you an example. Vegetarianism.
Yeah.
There are so many people in our
Well, that's
times
more
who
of a
are
trend thing. I
no.
feel.
There are so many people at our time who are vegetarians.
Yeah.
Vegetarians. Vegetarianists. There are so many people at our time who are vegetarians,
Yeah.
and they are on the right. Because sometimes I feel there might come a time
Later
and
we
people
will
will
look
look at us,
yeah, I
and they
do
will
feel
be
that.
like, you know, that guy, he ate animals. You know, Ashesh Maharjan, the art that we love.
Yeah.
This guy ate animals, and
Yeah,
specifically,
I see what you mean.
right? So that's what I'm saying is that not necessarily, I'm not looking at those people. Like right now, all the people that I respect, probably like Stephen Hawking ate meat, probably. We would never,
Yeah.
I mean, we would know.
Did,
like,
did,
it's
did you hear that he was on that Epstein list or something?
yeah, I heard that.
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, good. yeah. So, are you gonna lose respect for Stephen Hawking?
That's a
Yeah.
difficult question.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't just come to art. Okay, it's also with the scientists,
yes,
right?
yeah.
It's the ethics versus what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of pretty much what I wanted to say is that what some of those I do find it easier, like with Picasso or Hemingway. I'm like, oh, okay, it was a trend of that time. It was a shitty thing that they were part of that group of people who were
but then when it
misogynist.
becomes criminal, it's a different thing.
Yes, and
But
with
then I'm
Cosby,
also-
it was criminal.
Yeah, I'm also glad that I wasn't like into Cosby or whatever. I never knew about Cosby
There you
like
go.
that, you know. Yeah.
There you go.
But if there was, I don't know how it's difficult for me to separate the art from the artist.
It is.
I mean, it's not difficult. I'm
it's
sorry.
not
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's their profession too. You know, I mean, I know that, well, when it's art, it's your personal beliefs and stuff come through, whatever. But you know.
The reason I think for me it's very difficult to separate them is that every time I look at the painting, I'm more interested about where did this come from. I'm really interested about that, and I am interested about the skills as well. Like I don't get me wrong, I really love the good brushwork, the draftsmanship, everything about painting. I love that, but also a very huge part of that painting for me is that where did this come from?
Yeah, the message of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you could call it message as well.
Or
like with your paintings, like if somebody showed me a print, I could tell that it's yours. That's one of the things that I'm super sensitive about my own, that I feel like I don't have a style. Like no two paintings of me look the same. That's what I feel. But with you, I can tell you have come to a place where I see any of your
a lot of
pieces.
people say that to me, but for me, it's just what I do, you know. Like, and I think that's how it should be. You shouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna go search for my style. It's gonna be there. I'm gonna go find it. It's like you just keep doing it. It's
you
just
develop it.
It's not like I'm trying to develop my style. That's how I feel. You know, I'm just keep doing it, and people see things in it.
But that's what I'm saying. So you come through that.
Yeah.
So, and then with a lot of people, the person may not come through it, and that's why that art never picks up.
Yeah. But sometimes, you know,
because that person may start developing pieces at very different variety of quality. That's what I believe. If you're not being yourself, the variety between your quality is very huge. Like one painting could be super good. One painting could be not as good. That difference.
I have that a lot. I do a lot of bad paintings.
But you're probably comparing yourself with, like, you would you agree that the artists themselves, they are their own toughest critics?
Yeah.
Right? I bet nobody thinks as hard about your bad pieces as you do.
Yeah. A lot of times the painting that I don't like, people love it.
Yes.
Like that painting, I didn't like it. I was like,
I love it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but now I see it hanging there and I'm like, oh yeah, there is something there.
Yeah.
It has a lot of atmosphere.
Yes. And there's a lot about that painting. I specifically like the tree, the one that's really close.
Yeah.
There's so much character to that tree.
Yeah.
But you probably never paid attention to that tree. You probably saw something somewhere that didn't even mean anything to me.
Yeah, no, I was...
But also, here's another thing. They say a painting 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
There's probably 1,000 things happening in that painting.
Yeah.
Not everyone's brain is gonna pick on those 1,000 things.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And that's a really good point. Because paint does its own thing. You know? You just put it there and does its own thing. And when people look at it, they think I did it. That's literally how it goes. And they're like, you put so much detail. I just sprinkled it there and it looks like detail now. It looks like a tree. You know? That's literally how it goes.
But in that train painting, the one over there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's my favorite part in that? The stains on that concrete.
Oh, yeah.
But you probably intended that.
Yeah, I did.
That was not probably something that just happened randomly.
No.
The stains in that concrete is something that absolutely is amazing about that painting.
Thank you.
Right? And I remember that you didn't like this painting.
Yeah, and not my favorite one, but it was more because of the colors. Like it feels like but I like it.
Now
I like it way more than that one.
No, but at that time I remember that when I wanted to get this, you were like, no, maybe you should get something else.
But yeah,
there's so much good going on in that painting.
What I like about it is there is the black. No,
Yeah.
no,
The dark underbelly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't probably use the black color, like dark gray with blue and everything mixed, but
Yeah.
it has that, the thing that grounds it and it works.
Yeah. And you are up to something with the paintings that you have shadows of the building on.
Yeah, I've
You
been
remember?
obsessed with that. Yeah.
You're obsessed with that, and I'm pretty sure one of these days you're gonna make something I'm gonna love that. I'm pretty sure because you have been obsessed with that for so long.
Yeah.
You're up to something. You want something from that.
Yeah.
Probably you haven't achieved that, what you were looking for.
Last 3 weeks, like I said, I wasn't working that much, but I've been going out pretty much every day to try to paint. Most of the time, it doesn't come out very good. I mean, I do a lot of paintings. At one point, I was doing like 3 paintings a day, and I look at it like it's just part of the process. I just do it and not worry about what it looks like, and just try to like capture not the exact colors even. That's not what I want. I don't want to capture exactly what blue is this. Like I want to capture like the essence. I don't know how you say it. It's like it feels like it's out there and this is closer. Like like the atmosphere of it. Yeah.
So that's what you're after with those paintings?
Yeah, with the shadow paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and also I didn't know that I was so into shadows. I realized it once I started painting a lot. It's like that's what interests me. Because there is like that's where the dark and the light like come together.
I don't know whether I've picked up that from you, but probably from you, because I'm also interested with that.
Yeah, no, that's all artists. What we're doing is studying light.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there can be a lot of other things that people are doing, but for me, what I'm doing is like I feel like I'm studying light, and it's like natural light is the best.
Yeah. And do you also think that if you do one thing really well, and kind of are mediocre in a lot of other things with a painting, you can still make a really good painting?
Yeah.
Because with the videos, as I was talking about, for the profiles, I think I wish to believe that I'm doing the compositions really, really well.
Yeah.
And that's why it compensates for so many other lack of skills that I have for the videos.
Yeah. I believe that.
Right?
Yeah, because composition is it ties everything. It has to be good sound too for videos.
Yeah.
But color is pretty important, but composition is number one. Like we're painting too, because that's what you notice the first thing. Like, and that's what is I think is the important thing. I mean, color is really important too. I don't know how to say it, but the first impression, maybe that's how I can say it. Not a first impression as in like nice to see this painting, but I'm saying like boom, like the first few seconds.
Yeah.
You're not gonna notice a lot of colors. The main thing that you're gonna notice is the darks, the composition.
Or but maybe somebody is super good with colors. That's probably the first thing that you're gonna notice.
But if they're using color, it's still composition that like okay, pink, and there is dark blue, and they're composing with it. But the first thing you see is pink is light, dark blue is dark, and how they're arranged.
Yeah.
And then the color hits you. Okay, that's what I believe, because it's more like it's like our animal brain,
Yeah.
Like it's more important to see like what kind of shape is there than like what color it is. Like the kind of almost like the split moment is like almost like a threat detection, And if it's soothing, then everything is okay, and it's like like calm. It's like works. That's what we call like, okay, good composition, you know, when it's like working. But our brain, I think, is really, really sensitive to that because it comes from like what's behind that bush, you know?
Yes,
That's basically what, like the light and the dark, like how is the thing, like the, you know, where's the light and the dark? Is there a face there? Is there like a stripes, like a, you know, like a lion or a tiger stripes? You know, those things we catch really fast, the dark and the lights, where they are, stuff like that.
And I almost forgot that you're as good with your music too. So that's why I asked you last time is do you think music comes from the same place where
It
paintings?
definitely does.
Yeah.
For me, I'm personally, that's my first like love, music, and then comes art for me. But somehow it works out that art is something that I'm more okay sharing, easier sharing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because music is so personal to me. Like that's my number one thing, and I don't want to be like judged over it. You know, that's how I feel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's my identity. That's who I am. That's how I feel, right?
But probably you had the same feeling about paintings too, no?
Paintings. I've been drawing, doing art for a long time, and that's just what I enjoy. But for me, music was since I was a kid. I was like, I'll be. I started as a singer because that's the first music that you hear. I want to be a singer, like really into music. And then I realized, oh, it's not singing that I'm like actually attracted. It's everything.
You know what I was thinking? I'm gonna do another episode totally on your music. Like I'm gonna do another profile probably with your band, cause I don't know whether you realize it or not. Like it's super good, the music, both of those things. Cause what you know, like I was watching this documentary pretty long time ago about how good Picasso was in marketing.
Yeah.
If he was not good with marketing, we wouldn't have probably thought of Picasso as we think about him today.
Yeah.
So there's and that's the thing. That's a problem. Is that it's a very contradictory.
But that's
set
with
of fields.
everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say is that probably like through history they were like super amazing genius artists that they all died.
Think about that a
And
lot.
nobody knows
Yeah.
about them today.
Especially think about all the musicians. You know, there wasn't recording technology until a couple, like 100 years ago.
Yes.
Before that, I'm sure there were like so many that couldn't write
Yes.
music, you know? I mean, there's little, most of the people can't write music who play like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was a lot of them, you know?
And yeah, and that's why and this is what I was talking to Alana about on that episode is why do artists need managers? Because I think that's also because for a very long time I always thought like managers are kind of like they take
Lame.
advantage of
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I mean, that could be possible. There might be like
it happens,
managers.
yeah.
Yeah, there are managers that are in this business just for that. But then pretty much there are also so many good managers out there, probably.
Yeah, because they are necessary.
Yeah, because we don't know them.
Yeah.
I don't know all the managers. I don't know any of the managers for art.
Yeah.
All I've heard from some complaining artists that they were being taken advantage of. But I think that's how pretty much the fabric of society is that a really good artist needs a really, really good manager.
Yeah. And with technology, with social media and everything, people are saying like, oh yeah, you can do all like You know, you don't need a management. You don't need a gallery. You don't need like people.
I don't think so.
Like no, people say that because
Yeah.
you can market your own thing. You can make your own videos. You can do everything on your own. But then, if you do everything, your art is gonna suffer.
Yes.
It's definitely gonna
Yes.
suffer because you know you're not doing that's the main thing, and you're gonna make a product out of it by like you know putting a lot of things around it.
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, I mean there's that, and there's the setup thing. You know, like by the time you're setting up, you're doing this, the inspiration is gone.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And you can capture whatever comes out.
Yeah.
But it's just gonna be like there's a lot of good YouTube videos like that too. But then I can see that they're in the video and they're doing it for the video, and this is amazing. But you're not gonna like, I don't know, like it's a different thing at that point. You know, it's like you become like a content creator or something. You know,
like for example, with these videos, I told you earlier is that the part that I am really in this for is the profile part.
Yeah.
Because I really love making that part. And I put all my efforts into that.
Yeah.
And then when the podcast comes in, I don't want to spend any time at
Editing
at
it?
all. Yes,
Yeah.
the editing part.
It's just talking heads at that point, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Like, visually, there's nothing to do.
There's nothing to do with it,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to spend any time on editing it. Yeah. And that's why the editing suffers with this. And usually, as I was earlier setting up the thing, I said that I'm always the brightest of like a picture in these podcasts. I don't know why, but I don't want to even like spend too much time on it, thinking about like why my picture is always the brightest in these podcasts. But then it doesn't just stop there. I have to make a short for the Instagram. Then I have to make a short for YouTube.
It takes time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I have to make a short horizontal. I have to make a short long.
Yeah.
And then I have to think of how to hook people onto a video. And then I have to this is another thing that I didn't know about. You have to ask for, you know, like how these
You think it's okay the lighting went down?
I think it's different, right?
Yeah. Do you have to fix it? The ISO or something?
Not the ISO, but maybe the ISO. Let me fix it.
Yeah.
You notice it, right?
Yeah, it's getting a little. What about this one? You're probably gonna be bright.
I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the night. I'm probably gonna get normal.
Still bright. Yeah.
Yeah, my picture is gonna get normal like in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Right now it's like the sun. I can
think
see myself there.
that is shining on you too a little bit.
Probably.
Because it's close to yours. But that's fine.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, about so I was saying like you know like how when it gets to the vertical shorts and then the horizontal shorts, and by that time it's and you know a lot of things that you never think about. Like for example, asking for people to subscribe. I hated that thing.
Yeah, I hate it too.
I hate it till today. But apparently you have to ask for it for people to remember, and they will be like, oh, I have to subscribe, and then they click subscribe.
Yeah.
I hate doing that. I haven't come into terms of like for asking people to subscribe.
Yeah.
And I hope I never have to do that. But again,
maybe you can start with this video, like subscribe and click the bell icon.
The bell icon. Apparently, that bell icon when you click it. Like every time when you post video, they get notified. Otherwise, just subscription is not enough.
But I do feel like subscription doesn't make that much difference anymore. Is that true?
I don't know. I'm not that big, so I don't know.
No. But I'm saying that when I look at Instagram, or this is for you too, but I never see the people I subscribe that much. I see just random shit, and then there's one person I subscribe. You know, like
probably.
Which I think I don't know if it's a good thing, but
yeah.
Like
My Instagram.
I don't think any of what social media is doing is going in the right direction, but we're doing it.
My Instagram is all butts and tits.
Yeah, you can't help it. It's like you're taking my pulses while you're showing me this.
Yes.
Like, what am I gonna do?
Of course, yeah.
You know?
Of course, I'm gonna be clicking on those.
I mean, even if you don't click it, it already knows that my pulse went up when I saw this. You know?
Yeah. Oh,
So,
probably.
Yeah.
Did they track that too?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But probably with Apple Watch, you probably do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because you can't hide from it. You know?
Yeah, because that's what.
No, I literally go through Instagram on a regular basis where I just flip through, not as in I'm interested, as in like I'm just gonna stop on what I want it to show me. Like as long as it show me all these like
But
interesting
you know what?
things.
It's like mindless eating, you know? Like sometimes when you get into eating,
Yeah.
you probably don't have that problem. I do have that problem. You get into mindless eating, you start eating garbage, the things that actually excites your like primal animal, like
Yeah.
stupid brain,
Yeah.
that part of your brain, it just excites that.
Yeah.
With scrolling too, like after a couple of like really intelligent scrolls,
Yeah.
you start going on autopilot, and your autopilot as a human being or probably as a man is pretty much looking at tits and
No,
butts.
and it's also like accidents and people getting punched and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't want this. But apparently I do. Like, it's like, but that's what I'm saying. I have these sessions in Instagram where I just like go really quick when these things comes up. And then is this an artist? I'm like, okay, I'm just going to look at it, like it, like let them know that this is what I want. And when they show random things, I just go fast. And in the For You page, I just try to like click the ones that I want it to show me.
Yeah.
And it works for a bit, but then, you just have to keep
Yeah.
doing that.
My Instagram at this point has come to a part that I cannot even open it in public. Because it has got... I was telling Wasma the other day, I was like, I'm just all butts and tits. And she was like, but yeah, that's what you watch. Butts and tits, probably.
But
Her Instagram is all like golden
Financial?
retrievers.
Yeah. It's the cats, dogs, all those things, it hijacks our brain into be like, this is all I want.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. We know that this is happening, right? And then we say, oh, AI is going to be like a different. It's not going to be different. It's just going to show you who we are, just like that. Even more.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, what's your bias?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to just feed you your bias.
But I also, to be a little optimistic about this, I also think that the society has a very unique way of balancing itself. It always has been doing that. It always does that. At the end of the day, it balances itself. Like the fact that we always talk about Instagram in this way, like we're not being ruled by Instagram. We all know what it does to us. We all know that. Like I never used Twitter, but I started using it like 2 years ago. And the first few months, like I would be like, oh my God, there's so much hate in Twitter. Like, have you been on X, like Twitter?
No.
You're not.
No.
Oh my God, it's like it's really bad. Like the hate over there is really bad.
Yeah.
You don't get anywhere close of hate in any other social media platform to Twitter. But what it does is that you start filtering a lot of this hate. You after like 3 or 4 months, you start thinking about like, oh, this is not important enough. I shouldn't be paying this much attention to the hate.
Don't you think it's being probably normalized? Like,
but again,
once you feed the same lie like many times, you're gonna be like, okay, I guess this is. But the
again,
reality
normalizes that one of those words.
Desensitized.
Again, it's one of those words that may not be always a bad thing. Like being desensitized to hate Like hate. A lot of that hate. You're looking at me. I'm trying to.
Are you saying being desensitized
No.
to hate is not a bad thing?
No, what I'm trying to say is that so a lot of that hate is towards who? Towards immigrants, me. Towards Muslims, me.
Yeah.
maybe not like not practicing Muslims,
Yeah.
but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So a lot of that hate is directed towards, like in the beginning, I would be offended by that, but then I started filtering
No,
it
but
out.
I really feel like that's not a good thing.
You think so?
Yeah, but that's kind of accepting the fate. No, that's
Or-
just like, okay, that's just what people.
Or maybe that too. But I think if I can speak for myself, I think that I have started to think of it as not very important. The people, like, think about it. You've been watching YouTube for a very long time. Probably how long?
2007.
2000.
The first time. I remember the first time I discovered YouTube. Do you?
There you go. Not really.
You don't?
No.
Man,
So 2007, you've been watching YouTube. How many comments have you left on a YouTube video?
none. Maybe one or two.
There you go. So what type of people do leave comments on these videos?
Assholes.
Or people who don't have life?
Yeah.
And then if I start paying attention to those comments or to those tweets and all, then what does that make me? Stupid. That's what it makes me, right?
But I do pay attention to a lot of comments and it makes me feel horrible.
Yeah. But again, I think you should probably go to Twitter so it normalizes this much hate.
Desensitize myself. Yeah.
So you start realizing is that this entire thing is bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, what is this guy doing?
He's hitting this with his tail
Yeah.
and making the noise.
No, puppy, you have to let us talk. Okay.
Where were we?
You were saying that it's not a good thing to be desensitized to hate.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
I really don't know actually. I'm
just
very bad at social things. Like you're saying, your brother was really into these things. What was he into? Ants, yeah. And I do feel like a lot of us are like that. Maybe we
Into
are
something,
kind
yeah.
of autistic. I mean, into this thing so bad because of those kind of conditions. That doesn't hamper us that much, but it is there. Like I'm not that social of a person,
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like interacting, like, unless it's necessary, I don't interact with, but I've changed a bit now because, of New York, like being, like now it's different, But
people probably listening to this podcast, they will be like, this is the most talkative person. But people don't know you. You're not like this in daily life.
No, I only talk about art, music, if there's that's why I think like there is some of that in me, because once I get into something, I get really into it, and everything else I just ignore.
I've actually noticed you in a lot of social settings. You really trying hard to making small conversations.
Yeah, and
it's
it
funny.
doesn't work. Yeah. No, but I can only talk about things that I've thought about a lot, and I just spend a lot of time thinking about these things.
Yeah.
And when you ask me, I'm like, okay, I have a lot of things.
That's a problem. Like a lot of people who are good with small talks, they're not good with deep talks.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they're really good with just small talks.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So there's probably two different category of people.
Yeah. I mean, that's the introvert and extrovert, But also, the strange thing is, I noticed that when people ask me about my own art, it's hard for me to talk to.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's why I said in the beginning, don't ask me specifically about, I don't know why. It's it's just what I do, and it's just what is there.
I don't think that. I think you're good with both of them. It's just people have to frame the question a certain way. A lot of time, people may not know how to ask that question. All we have been doing is talking about your art and music right now.
Yeah.
So if somebody is genuinely curious about your work, you're gonna notice that curiosity, and you're gonna try to answer, like
Yeah.
feed that curiosity. And if somebody is not, like, how are you gonna answer if I ask you, what does your art mean?
Yeah, like that's what I mean. It's like this one, like what does this mean? I'm like,
don't know.
there, like, you know, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know what else you want from me, you know?
Yeah, there you
Like,
go.
in words, like
Yeah.
you don't want me to tell you exactly what this, like, in writing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. And people do ask questions like that. And it's probably not their fault too. Like most of the time they don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
Like they
But
have,
I still appreciate it. You know, they're
Yeah.
they're still curious, and I at least know that they're engaging with my art. You know.
yeah.
So
You selling the art at the market, how does that, has that any, does it affect your art making process? Does it affect anything about?
it has made me think that I can do it as an artist. You know, like a professional, because I've been in some exhibitions, which is really amazing and awesome. That's what I really want to do, you know. But I don't sell as much in exhibitions. I have sold, but not as much as in a market setting, you know. And it also makes me happier, kind of, because you really are interacting with the person who's taking it with them. And it also means that it's not just some, like, like whoever, like a collector or like a man, like a gallery representative who got your piece. Like, okay, that's amazing too. Okay, but it's really nice to have, like, just normal people have actual art with them at their house. You know, it's not like a digital print. you
Yeah.
know? And that's what I see when I do markets. You know, people really get into it, and it's not like thousands of dollars, but they spend enough money to make me feel like, okay, this means something to you.
Yeah.
You know, and that means a lot to me, because it's people, I can see it when they see something, and they in their eyes they're like, I want that, you know. Like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's everything to me, and that's why I like doing markets.
Has it surprised you, like, knowing, oh, this person is into my art? Oh, this
Yeah.
kind of person. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
very much. I never know who, like, someone walks to the market thing, and a lot of times I'm like expecting a big sale, and they're like, oh, talking a lot, and they don't buy it. But then some people, I want this one, and that one, and it's like, this is $400. It's like,
And they're okay with it.
yeah, they don't care. They just want those things, you know. And it's a good surprise to me. You know, it's like it's worth something. You know, what I did.
That's always the interesting part. Like, one of the things that I never expected was one of the most loyal listeners to this podcast is my sister.
Oh yeah. I am too. Okay, I watched all of it. Yeah.
You are. Yeah. But that's like, was so unexpected. Like, and I really appreciated that. It's kind of crazy. Like the other day, she was telling me, like, you haven't released a new podcast. I was cleaning the house the other day, and I wanted to listen to something, and I saw you never released a new podcast. But that's the kind of thing that I think stays as a memory.
Yeah.
And for me, that would stay as a memory. Like, no matter how big this thing gets, that would stay as a memory.
Definitely. I mean, the support is a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, once you feel that support, and you also feel obligated to be good.
To be good, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not like a superficial thing at that point, you know. That's what I like about it. It's like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to be rich or whatever. It's like, people actually like it, and that's what I want, you know. And yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself staying here long term in New York?
In New York?
Like, you see yourself growing old here?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. That's a difficult question. I don't know what I'm gonna do next year. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
because that's a thing for me is that
Do you?
the more I live in the city, the more I believe I cannot live anywhere else.
But I do miss nature. I miss nature a lot.
But I think that's what has worked for me is that I spend like 3 days
Oh yeah,
upstate.
yeah.
That has worked.
Maybe could work for me too, but I can't afford it. But also,
I think you'll afford it one day. I think you're getting there. I'll like mark my words. Mark this podcast. You're gonna be big one day, cause you have all the recipe. You have all the ingredients to be a really good artist. I just wish. I think it's not about wish. I think you're gonna make it there.
thank you.
I
I appreciate that.
I promise you that you're gonna make there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, no matter what, I'm still going to keep doing this. It's like, that's the bottom line. It's like, okay, I try to do something with my art. If I don't, I'll still be doing art.
What about your music? You're gonna do something?
Music too. I mean, I never, it's not like I stopped doing music. I still do it. I just don't. I just need to find the courage to.
Yeah. And I think
release stuff.
I think a lot of time with these things, it has to find its own workable process.
Yeah.
Like with art, you found the market.
Yeah.
Like if there was something like this market that happened for your music, I think it's gonna change everything.
Also, with music, it's a thing that you do in a group, and that's more difficult.
Yes.
To find the right people that.
With right level of commitment.
I mean, I'm playing in bands, and they're really committed too. But it's not just about commitment. It's about what it means to them.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm realizing. Like, I don't want to talk about like, oh, this didn't work with the bands and stuff like that. But I realized that it really, if you're in a band with someone, you really have to be in line with what are you trying to do with the band.
I think that's with everything. If you want to do it with someone else,
with the group, right?
Yeah, with a group,
and that makes it so much difficult.
Not even with a group. Like I think the smallest group that you can form is your spouse, your partner.
Yeah.
Like how hard,
communication.
Oh my god, how fucking hard it is to find. First of all, find a workable spouse.
Yeah.
Not like
workable spouse. What the heck?
like not the perfect spouse.
Are we talking about what are we talking about?
Like a workable relationship.
I know what you mean.
Like something that you can work a little on and then it works. Yeah. First of all, that part is super hard.
Yeah.
And then finding soulmates. Like with band, I think it's finding soulmates. Like if you want to make
4 soulmates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, also because music means so many things to so many different people. And it's hard to, like, because not just genre.
Yes.
Genre separates people like crazy.
Yes.
Like, because my bassists always want to play like a hard rock, and I don't want to use like heavy guitar, and we're always like clashing. That's one thing, right? But then it means, I noticed since we start playing often, it means completely different things to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even like close to what music means to me. But it's music.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more about like digging deep.
Yeah.
For them, it's more about like making something and like
exhibition,
being big with it and stuff. Yeah. And that really is clashing. For me, I want to like do completely original stuff. Like I don't want to sound like Red Hot Chili Pepper or something like
Yeah.
And it's much harder and takes a lot more time and patience, and you can't be like, oh, let's just release albums and let's just tour
But that also gives you probably I think that's a very good. I think it's a good problem to have for you, because that will teach you working in a group. Because it's working with a group, like working in a relationship is a lot about compromises. Working in 4 people relationship is a lot more of a compromise.
Yeah, and it's really difficult because I don't want to compromise in my music.
Yes, I
because
get it.
that's what I do to not compromise.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And it's same for them too.
Yes.
They want to have fun. They want to be like
Yeah.
dancing on the stage, and like they want to, and that's what music is to them.
But that's the thing. It's so hard to transfer that, to communicate that that need that everybody has.
Yeah.
Like you could be I know you want to be Stevie Wonder. They want to be well,
I want to be Stevie Wonder of guitar, maybe.
There you go.
Jeff Beck. I want to be Jeff Beck, basically.
Okay. There you go. You want to go for that? And they probably want to go for someone else who made them. Like you can have that dance.
Like
that,
the Foo Fighters, and they're into those things. You know, Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana. I love those too,
yes.
you know. But I don't want to be another one of those. You know, that's how I feel.
But that's what I'm trying to say is that probably there is a middle ground that is something super good.
Yeah.
But it's hard work.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
But I mean, what we do, you could call it a middle ground, but I'm not satisfied with it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just want it to be pure, like, for music's sake. You know, it's like I don't want to be like an exhibitionist with music.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to. I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah.
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 Because for me, music is very related to my identity.
I didn't know that music was way closer to you than art. I didn't know that.
I don't know why, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was my first thing that I was drawn to.
Mm. Well, let's end this. I don't know how long have we been talking.
Yeah, we've been talking.
Oh, it's not been that long.
Oh, really?
It's like an hour, 20 minutes.
Oh, really? I thought it was longer.
Yeah, well, what does it mean? Like it went so long?
But it's also because we've been drinking, I guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. We lost track of time.
Yeah. What else do you want to ask me? Is there anything else you want to know?
Well, we're gonna talk again and again.
Yeah.
This is not the first in the series.
Okay.
I'm gonna be learning more. I'm gonna be learning how to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, your Instagram?
Instagram, Ash, ASH dot KO dot studio.
Okay. And then where do you sell your art?
I sell it in my website, ashcostudio.com too.
You have the link for that on your Instagram too, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll also put it on wherever I'm sharing this. I'll also put links to that. And market, do you want to tell them about the market as well?
Market, I'm doing one this coming weekend actually in Brooklyn, Zero Space. That's the name of the venue. It's called the Renegade Market. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I've heard Renegade, but not Zero Space.
It's called Renegade Craft. That's the company.
Okay.
And they do handmade artists. They have ceramics and all these handmade craft stuff and art. So they're a pop-up market that moves a lot. They do like, I think 3 or 4 a year in New York. They have like a few in Chicago, a few in San Francisco, and they keep moving it. And so
I'm gonna come to that one definitely. When was it you said?
this weekend, June 7th. What's the weekend? 6th, 7th?
I don't know.
Yeah.
June 7th. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
Saturday and Sunday.
Today is the 3rd, so probably. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's the next one.
But you usually do your market there, or you do it somewhere else?
I did it in Artisan Flea in Williamsburg last year, which was good, but not like crazy good. And it's pretty expensive to put it there, so I'm not doing that this year that much. Maybe I'll do like a few here and there in Williamsburg, the artisan flea. But Renegade, I'm gonna be consistently doing that.
But I think the best place to reach you is your Instagram. So whenever they want to know about, or whatever they want to,
or my website.
And people may not know about your art, like how original it is. I can vouch for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also planning on doing like a little newsletter thing.
You're my favorite living artist. You know that?
I hope it's gonna be living for a long time now.
Yeah. If I had to count the dead artists, then probably after Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the second after Van Gogh. Man, that's some crazy comparison there.
Yes. So that's how good you are.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. All right.
And man, you've been my supporter since day one, man.
There you go.
Like even before I was good, before I was any good, like college days. You used to.
But I'll probably fall back into like returning compliments. I'm not gonna go there. But thank you. I'll see you again. We'll talk again.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah.